In this tutorial, we are going to build this simple agentic system, which will help us scout for interesting AI ideas by looking at different data sources. In this example, the data source will be Reddit, but we can also add additional data sources like searching the web, monitoring certain websites for new content, pretty much anything. We are going to recreate this from scratch. But before we do that, I'd like to take you on a brief tour. At the very top, we have the trigger. The trigger is the event that is sent to the agent. At the moment, it's simply set to trigger daily, but we can provide a more specific schedules and even trigger the agent based on certain types of events. The agent has a backstory, which effectively describes the behavior of the agent. In here, we have various instructions that specify exactly what we want to achieve and exactly how to create the specific output that we are after. This is all connected to a skill set. The skill set is effectively the tool belt where the different abilities are connected to, and it's something that can be shared between multiple agents. In the skill set, we have different tools, or what we call abilities in ChatBotKit. Here we have the Reddit abilities. They fetch the comments or fetch the content on a specific discussion. As you can see here, we don't specify any parameters. This is something that the agent will be able to figure out by itself. So no need to type any additional information. In the center, we have the abilities connected to Notion. We have searching, creating, updating, and introspecting the database itself. All these abilities are connected to the Notion API key, which is set up here. So once this agent runs, it will be able to create this type of database that we see here. So this is something that is running on a continuous basis. I've been running it for the past 2 days. It will aggregate and create a catalog of interesting agentic AI use cases. And we can use this to figure out how to create more tutorials such as this one, but also share this so that community can build their own. With that set aside, let's create this from scratch so you can see how it's done. I already have here a blank blueprint where we're going to build most of the things. The first step is to drag all the abilities onto the canvas. It's a very simple task. We're going to focus most of the time in our abilities tab. And in here, all we need to do is simply grab the abilities that we need for the task. First, let's start with Reddit. What we need is get the feed for a subreddit. Maybe we want get the contents for a specific article. I'm going to just put those aside. In addition to that, we're going to need some Notion abilities. We're going to use the search Notion ability here. We're going to start with this one. We are definitely going to need an ability to introspect the Notion database, because if I want to add an additional field in the database, I want the agent to be fully aware that this is a requirement from now on and be able to populate it. I'm also going to add the list database items that might come useful as well. And fetch Notion database item. Let's add all of them. And of course, add delete and update. We have everything connected just like that. So let's customize the database ID. In this case, I'll specify the database ID, but I'll leave the item blank. Again, this is something that the agent needs to be able to do by itself. I'll put that one here as well. And for introspections, I'll do that as well. And that is all configured. The last bit that we need to do is to configure the secret or the API key. You can grab one from Notion. You need to create an app integration. I'll just copy the value that I already have just to make the solution work. We have pretty much everything working. The only thing that we haven't done yet is configuring the trigger. But let's build this for now. And we're going to give it a test as well. Okay, it's all done. I'll just call this bot. And notice that I haven't configured any backstory yet. We don't need to do that yet. In fact, we can use the bot itself to write its own backstory, but let's test it first. So I'll say, can you scan and edit for articles related to agents and use cases? As you can see, we've already scanned Reddit and we started extracting some interesting information. One particular aspect I want the agent to do is to look at specific Reddit communities Another thing that we need to do is customize its goal, and I'll put this on the top. Just a simple sentence that says your goal is to build a list of real-world use cases for agentic AI systems, specifying it in very simple terms. So let me save this quickly. Let's test this agent again with the new backstory. You can see now we have better information in terms of what we're looking to collect, but we can make this a little bit better. What we're going to do next is improve upon that backstory, and I will copy my original because it takes time to write a good backstory. Notice that the agent collected all these use cases simply by looking at Reddit. The last bit is to customize the trigger, and I will select the trigger from the list of resources. Simply connect to the bot. Now we have the trigger connected. I'll set it up to daily, save it, and we are now done. We can invoke the trigger, and once we do that, we're going to have a list such as this one.